Hi, welcome to this week's Dragonblade Authors Unplugged. I think this is the first time I've gotten 3 lines. I'm so excited. We have a big full house this week. Ladies, thanks so much for taking the time. We've got Laura Strickland, Mary Lancaster, Arden Conroy, Tanya Wilde, Charlie Lane, and Meara Platt with us this week. So we are not going to waste any time. We're going to dive right in with the books, and we'll start with you, Meara. It's Starlight and the Duke, and it's the Silver Duke series. And it's just like, like, who doesn't like a duke with a little bit of gray in their hair? And it's like my cat right now. So can you tell us about this one?
Oh, sure. This one, it's like very simple plot. Have my wonderful, wonderful hero. He came into my head he's so earnest and charming and faithful and loyal and true. He has loved his heroine, Fiona. This is Robert Durham, the Duke of Durham. He's just loved his heroine since he was a child and never stopped loving her. She's 6 years older than he is.
Oh, so, cool. She's got silver too.
Yes. Well, not really. She doesn't take it so well when she sees that hint of silver in her hair. But no, she's because she's 6 years older. When she married at 18. She married an earl, and of course, Rob was too young at the time to realize what his feelings were for her. And as he grew up, he just knew that she was the love of his life. And when her husband passed away, he decided he's in his early 30s, hot, determined, absolutely going to go after her. But the problem is he's the last of his line. The Durham, and he needs to produce an heir. And Fiona is certain that she's barren and can never give him that heir. So that's the crux of the story. And she's so caught up in the sense of duty and honor to the crown and not letting this title expire. She's determined to help him find a suitable bride.
Oh no!
I know, and he's not having any of it, but he'll go along with it because as long as he's with her, and he'll quietly undermine every single setup she attempts. But she's also decided that they're about to go to a house party for the house party, and you can have all of me for the entire week and get me out of your system. So it's going to be a disaster and hopefully a lot of fun. But that's the crux of the story. And I'm just I love writing these Silver Dukes. They're just so much fun.
We've got a golden retriever with a title this time. I'm so excited. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I love the idea of her trying to fix him up, and then also trying to undermine all of her attempts,
Yes. And you'll see like one of the characters young ladies that she does try to set him up with, she'll show up in the next book, Crash Landing on the Duke. That's going to come up. So lots more fun in store.
Good. And this is book 5 in the series?
This is book 5, yes.
How many do we have planned?
6. And then we're going to do a spin-off of
fun.
Silver Duchesses. Except they won't really be gray-haired little ladies. So
kind of gray-haired little old ladies some slack. It doesn't matter.
Some of them can, they don't necessarily slow down. But this will be the heroines will be spinsters, in the late 20s, early 30s, and they reside on this lovely street in Mayfair called Duchess Square, and that's where we're going to go next. And I'm writing that book now, the first book in that. My keyboard is in flames. The hero is so hot. The readers are going to love him.
Like, we're going to need some serious heroes for that to get the women to leave their lane.
Because they have no reason to marry. They're heiresses. They're comfortable. They're wealthy. So they really, really have to love the heroes, and the heroes have to be very worthy. So.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Well, there's lots to look forward to there. Yeah. Awesome. Well, the next book that came out this week is Arden's book, and it's A Lady's Rules to Seaside Romance. that in the right order. And it's book 3 in the Harp and Thistle series. Can you tell us about that one?
Sure.
4.
So this is the last book in the trilogy, and it actually takes place 10 years after the first 2 books.
Oh, cool.
So, yes. So the whole premise of the series is that the McNabb brothers own this pub called Harp and Thistle. And of course, each story is about them falling in love. And the interesting thing about their family history is that they were orphans and they grew up in Whitechapel, but their grandfather, who disowned his son, is actually a Scottish duke.
Ooh.
So they've had little to no exposure to the ton. They don't know a lot about the rules and all of that. And Victor, who is the hero in this story, he's actually the eldest. And he's pretty much gone through his whole life like in severe denial about what his future holds. Now it turns out his grandfather is dying. And he's panicking a little bit because he's like, okay, what do I do now? I have no idea what I have to do with this. I don't know what to do. He's all stressed out because part of that is his nature. He's a very serious, hardworking type of person. So he turned to his best friend, Lady Anne, who is a widow. And she tells him, every summer the whole family goes to Brighton. You never go with us because you have to work. Why don't you actually enjoy yourself this summer? Come out to Brighton with us and I'll introduce you to people and I'll help you kind of re-enter it. So he's like, fine, I guess. And his brothers approach him and are like, you and Anne have been best friends for 10 years. They're both on the older end. And they're, asking, what is something going on with you two that we don't know about? And he has to admit, maybe there's something there, but he's not quite sure. So his brothers challenge him to kind of figure that out over summer. Meanwhile, Anne has 2 teenagers. One is a girl about to come out, and her daughter is this wildly romantic girl, and she challenges her mom to find some romance this summer. Her mom has been out of mourning, but she's never really gone back into society. So she's like, hey, Mom, I'm coming out next year. Why don't you start stepping back in a little bit too? So Anne says, okay, fine. Well, as with teenagers, some antics ensue, and Anne has to lean on Victor a little bit because he's the most trusted person in her life. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but her daughter does get into a little bit of trouble that threatens to ruin the family.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
That's a little bit of trouble. That's a big bit of trouble.
Yes. So she's it's a really fun summer romance, rompy, all that good stuff.
Yeah. And it's perfect time of year for it too. So.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it sounds like fun. And this is the last book in the trilogy?
Yes.
Cool. Very cool. Well, it sounds like big fun, and it sounds like exactly the right time of year to be reading about rules for seaside romance.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, the next book that came out this week is Charlie's book, and it's your Lion's Den debut.
Yeah.
And it's The Lion Loves Last. Can you tell us about this one?
Yeah, so The Lion Loves Last. The lion in this case is Felix, Viscount Foxton, and he has probably one of my more tragic backstories. His entire family dies when he's a kid, and he's left alone in this house until someone finds him. And he goes to live with his grandfather, who's wonderful, where he meets Caroline, and this little girl around his age. And so they have these like idyllic summers together and catch feelings as they do. And he has issues, of course. He has a little survivor's guilt from his childhood, and he's very reckless with his own life. And so he decides like the thing to do is not to fall in love or get feelings, but to like not get close to anyone. So the feelings he gets for Caroline, like he's got to, throw them away, throw her away. So he does that in a spectacularly just like boneheaded way. And now they are like, they're butting heads. So Time passes, and Caroline, whose radical philosopher slash poet father has died unexpectedly, leaving her an heiress, decides that she's going to use her money for a cause, and that's to create a women's refuge somewhere, secret
What,
women's
like
refuge.
this woman?
She's awesome. I love her.
Yeah, this is a
So there's a secret women's refuge, but she needs a house, and she knows that the best way to keep sort of a woman buying a house secret is to marry a man with a house, but it's got to be a man who doesn't really want the house. So there's a lot of stipulations, and the widow of Whitehall is like, you're very stubborn and you're very picky, and can't you just like lose some of your stipulations for a husband? And she's like, absolutely not. So she ends up holding this game of riddles for her future husband, and the man who can answer the riddles, the most riddles, is the one who's she will deign worthy enough, smart enough to marry, because she doesn't really want him in her life, but also she's not going to marry someone.
You got to make him work for it.
Yeah, exactly. So it ends up being Felix who wins this game of riddles, because of course machinations and matchmaking, and his grandfather gets involved. And so they think they're going to go on their way, their little separate ways, and have this marriage of convenience where they never see each other. But he finds out that she's living alone in this house where he had the most tragic moment of his life.
When he was alone.
When he was alone.
Man.
She's living there alone now. And she has no servants because it's totally dilapidated. And she is trying to fix it up to create this refuge. But he cannot stand the fact of her being alone with like no protection.
Oh man.
At this house. So off he takes toward Hawthorne House in order to face his demons and to keep his wife from being alone and unsafe. And so that's where everything comes together. And these two are forced to be in a real marriage instead of a convenient one. In fact, it's very inconvenient for Felix. And for her too.
There's so many good things there. We've got marriage of convenience. We've got forced proximity. When we've got the he's going to have to do some grovel kind of thing because he did bad early on. So, which makes it a second chance too. There's all kinds of stuff to love there.
I think so. I like it.
Yeah. What was it like to write in the Lion's Den world?
Oh, it was so fun. And there were so I already had this sort of Hawthorne House world that I was working on, which is the women's refuge. And when I started diving into all the novellas, there's so many Lion's Den books. And when I started reading through them all, and when I started thinking about connections between the Lion's Den world and my own Hawthorne House world, I was like, this is really great, right? We've got these women with aspirations and ambition and power. And my house is going to need some like old soldiers who can come and be guards, right? And the widow has those at the Lion's Den, and we've got all these really sort of subversions of masculine and patriarchal power happening in both the series. So I was really excited by all those parallels, and just to join this like huge stable of authors who have all brought their voice to this one long immersive experience of a story.
Yeah. I love that. And I love that it is such an integrated world, and that everybody has their own kind of flavor within it. We have an anthology coming out at the end of this month, and we're also going to do a Lion's Den Kickstarter that'll run towards the end of the year. Catherine is writing Bessie Dove Lyons origin story. So I'm like super excited about that, but I'll make sure you guys know about everything when we get closer to time. But I'm glad your Lion's Den debut was a good one for you. So awesome. So the next book that came out this week is Only a Duke, and it's Tanya's book, and it's book 6 in the Ladies Who Dare series. Can you tell us about that one?
Yes, this is Oliver and Lady Louisa's book. So he is the Duke of Mortimer, which you would have met throughout the series a little bit, but it can be read as a standalone. And they are like mortal enemies, supposed to be family feud, forbidden love kind of vibes, Romeo and Juliet. And of course, she has something he wants. And the natural way he decides to go about to get it is to break into her house in the country where she is at and steal
Like you
it,
do.
as you do. And he gets caught by her. So now he has to come clean, and she is refusing to allow him to just go about his business alone, because what he's wanting from her has evidence in it that implicates her stepmother in a criminal organization. So she's like, they embark on an adventure to get some more evidence. So we've got some hidden disguises. And then her little brother gets kidnapped
No way. Oh man.
by the heroes of my next series. So they're bad guys. Good bad guys. So they just tons of adventure, lots of fun, and yeah, that's kind of like the quick gist of it.
Oh, it sounds like a lot of fun. Is this how many? It's book 6, correct?
Yes, this is book 6. It's supposed to be the last book, but there will be a surprise release after this one. So it's not the end. There'll be
Not to say goodbye yet.
not goodbye yet. There'll be another book, Ophelia's story. She's actually the first book, which will then just be kind of like a prequel to the whole series.
Oh, fun. I like
Yes.
when everything locks together and you can kind of just read on and on and on and on. That's been fun. Awesome. Well, Mary, I didn't mean to skip you. I have my notes are all followed.
I was getting away with it.
Wait a minute. So, actually, before Tanya's book came out, Mary's book, and we're recording on Wednesday, so we're actually recording on Charlie's release day. So the reference to the book releases is some of them aren't out by the time we're talking about this. But Mary's book comes out, and it is Word of the Wicked. And it's the Silver and Gray series. So
Yes.
slow burn romance, same couple the whole way through. Love this idea. Can you tell us about this one?
Yeah, it's a love and mystery, in fact. So our two sleuths are. It's taken them a while to get to the stage where they've admitted to being in love, and they're now actually engaged to be married, but they haven't quite got there yet. And their investigation business is going so well, and they've got so many cases that they never get any time for each other anymore. And somehow they've never quite organized the wedding. And now they're beginning to think, if we really wanted to be married, would we not be married? And is something going wrong here? And but then they decide that they have to work together for a little while on a particular case. And then they have another case that turns up. The first case is about there's some anonymous letters have been written in a village. And lots of completely unrelated people seem to have got these letters. They're not particularly threatening, but they're bizarre and causing ill feeling. And they want to get to the bottom of it. So they decide they should both go to that. But just as they've decided that, then the man who they think is Solomon's brother, his missing brother, he's been missing since he was 10 years old. And they think he came back in the last book, but then he said he wasn't his brother and he went off back to sea again. But this time he's come back because he's in trouble. The police are after him because they think he killed a man. And he's absolutely sure that he didn't. In fact, he thinks he killed this same man before when he was at sea years ago. So it's all very complicated. So they realize that he has to be helped somehow. So they do go off to the village together, but they're still having to try and work on. They plank the brother in Solomon's house, pretend to be Solomon because he looks very like him. They're twins, and then they go off about their other case, and it just all stems from that because they're trying to do too much and they're still trying to work out being together, and hopefully they will find a way through it all, solve the mysteries, the anonymous letters, and make sure Solomon's brother is safe and they find the true murderer. And that's their ideal. So I won't tell you how they get there, or indeed if they.
Well, we have to read it just to figure out how you murdered the same guy twice. Well, murder the first time and you don't murder him the second time. Like that that needs some reading to get to. So.
Well, it should be fun anyway.
Yeah, well, when the series first came across my desk, when we way back when we were doing the Publishers Marketplace announcement, I was messaging Natalie back and forth. I was like, "Did you read this? This looks so good. This sounds so good." So I'm very excited to see it actually turn into a series of books. How many more do we get in the series?
There will be another 4 after this one.
Oh, yay! Okay, so we get a chance to really sink in and get to know everybody. Awesome.
Yeah, it was meant to finish with this one, in fact, with Word of the Wicked, but I was talked into writing some more, and I was very happy to do it, actually. Because I like this couple; they're good.
Yeah. We're happy that you're happy, and I love a slow burn, and I love like the expanding from romance to romantic mystery. That we get to have a little bit of both. I think that's
it's nice. Yeah, I like it.
Awesome. Well, the last book that comes out this week is Laura's book.
Yeah.
And it is For a Wild Woman's Heart. And I was writing down the title this morning. I was thinking, yeah, that's how I want the wild woman's heart, So,
Yeah.
Can you tell us about this one? It's book 3 in the Ancient Songs series.
It is book 3. And the Ancient Song series, the idea behind it is that there is a pair of lovers who meet up life after life after life, sometimes separated by hundreds of years. And they recognize something about each other. So we are at the midpoint of the series, which takes place in the 9th century in Scotland, in the time of Kenneth MacAlpin, who united the parts of Scotland into what is now Scotland, the Celtic Gaelic half, and the Picts, who are also known as Caledonians. And Kenneth MacAlpin did that by marrying a Caledonian woman. Well, he decided this was a very good idea, and he chose some of his favorite chiefs and said that they would marry Caledonian women also. So my heroine, her name's Darley, she is sent to marry a Gaelic chief, the son of a Gaelic chief, and she is a Caledonian princess, and she is a wild woman. They have never seen anyone quite like her on the Gaelic end of Scotland. The problem is the young man to whom she's sent to marry wants nothing to do with her. He's in love with someone else.
Oh, man.
But his brother takes one look at her and recognizes her on a subatomic level.
Oh.
And 2 other lifetimes. So they have a lot of terrible things happen to try to come between them. But when you're destined to be together for 5 lifetimes,
You're destined to be together.
You're destined to be together. So no matter what I threw at them, they seem to survive it. And it gets a little dark in the end, but they do manage to be together in that lifetime. But in the last book, we will find out how they both grow enough to recognize how they can be together forever.
Oh.
So the last book it's a culmination of the entire series.
Oh, awesome.
And the books are, each book is told as a tale by a Gaelic bard in a hall. So the last book, he is the actual hero.
Oh, cool.
Telling all the tales for a very special reason.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Oh, I love that. The love that surpasses lifetimes.
Yes.
Like, I love you to this lifetime and beyond. Oh,
yes.
Oh, awesome.
And Scotland's the perfect place to set something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's an ageless place, and it never seems to wear off. People love it forever. And I get to visit 5 different distinct periods of Scottish history, which is also very interesting.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So the one after this one will be set in Viking times. And the final one is during the Wars of Scottish Independence.
Awesome. So we get a little bit of history for everything. I love that. As somebody who was never particularly good at history or attracted to history, like getting little bits and pieces of it that I can trust.
This is an easy way to slide into it because you're living through it. You're not being fed facts. Right. You're experiencing it. Yeah.
Tell me a story and it'll stick with me. So.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, that sounds like a great time, and I love that pull your heartstrings kind of love past one lifetime things. And you're right about Scotland. Even those of us who have never been, it feels magic from from a distance. It feels like a magic place. So very cool. Very cool. Well, we actually do have one more book that comes out this week. It's the Dragonblade's anthology. I'm not gonna say it with the Dukes all summer long because I wiggle every time I say it in meetings. I'm not going to do it. But it's the Dukes All Summer Long anthology, and it comes out this Sunday, and we're having a party. We're having the party in the readers group. So if you don't belong to the Dragonblade readers group, why? Just go click the button and get in, because there's we do takeovers every day, every release day, and there's always treats, and you get to talk to your favorite authors, and there's no reason not to, and you don't get bombarded with anything you don't want. So click to get in the readers group, and then make sure you show up on Sunday, and all the authors that are in the anthology will be in the readers group to talk about their stories and that kind of stuff. And you want to grab that one, because the anthologies are like 5, 6, 7, 8 stories in one book for one low price, which is less than a cup of bad coffee. So go quickly. Well, ladies, we have a couple minutes left. I wondered if we could just talk a little bit about, I know everybody says, where do you get your ideas from? And as an author, you're like, the hard part is not getting the ideas. The hard part is picking which one to focus on, because their stories are everywhere. But I wondered if you could talk a little bit about how you decide where you go next, especially those of you who have longer running series. What is the thing that calls you to the next story, to the next project? How do you fit things together? Look at everybody jumping in, just so eager to answer. Let's start calling on people if nobody volunteers.
I usually get the feeling first, the feeling I want to create, because you have to have the emotions first before you can create the book, or else your readers won't feel the emotions. So I'll get a feeling, and it could come from anywhere. It could come from a song or something I read, or just out of a dream. And then you just kind of develop it and run with it.
That makes sense. Charlie, I saw you raising your hand.
I am really drawn to writing things that are the type of things that I like to read. So I just keep a list of things that give me those feelings that Laura was talking about while I'm reading. And generally an idea will coalesce around, or it could be something that I'm watching as well. Like I watched a Korean drama about potions. And then all of a sudden I was like, well, I have to now write something with that. So anything that makes me feel big emotions makes me want to write something that elicits those same emotions.
Yeah, that makes sense. That idea of wanting to go on the story or on the ride yourself, so you write the ride you want to go on. That makes sense. Anybody else?
For me, I start from the hero and the heroine, and I kind of put together their personalities, give them a name, and I just build out from there. And I don't know how it happens, but it does. And I just think, what would be the worst thing that could happen to these two, and how could it bring them together? And every story that I write is kind of adjacent to each other. Right now, I'm working on a new series. And even though it takes place about 20 years earlier, maybe a little bit less than the Harp and Thistle series, there's still small ties, like appearances from characters from the previous book, just, side characters or whatever.
Yeah. To make the world real,
Yeah, stuff like that. And I have like a list of types of stories that I just love, and I just kind of think, how would that work with these two, or would that work with the situation? And then I just kind of build out from there.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that idea of like, what is the worst thing that can happen to them? I think it was Jenny Cruzy. You talked about that, like being the third rail of the story. That's the power that drives you put the lovers on the path, and that drives them to the conclusion. So, awesome. Tanya, what about you?
I'll honestly just be writing, and then ideas will pop in, like, oh, what if this? So I've also got a list, like what if lists, and then a title would pop
you get
into
the
my
titles
head,
early.
and I'll start the manuscript.
Cool.
Yeah, titles pop in usually the first, and then the rest follow. So I've got this whole folder of titles and ideas of it. So yeah, it's just getting to them all. But it just pops up when I'm writing, also watching things, reading things. So
Very cool. Meara, what about you?
Yeah, I find, I'm not sure where the ideas come from. They just seem to pop in my head. But I do try to keep a very open mind about anything, whether it's I'm driving around or if I'm watching a show or listening to a song, and the ideas will just pop in my mind. And then as I write the first few stories, there's certain characters where all of a sudden, the minute I write their names, you just feel that zing just happen and say,
Like you called them.
yes, it's like, and they're there saying, I need my story and you're going to give it to me. So, yeah. That's pretty much it. But I am very, very much like Arden said, I'm very much character driven. So I think of the characters first. And very often it will be a hero that'll pop in my head. And they literally will point and say, she's the one I want. And you have to give me her. So, and there's the story.
It's interesting too, because in your books, you do a lot of he falls first too. Like there's a lot of, he falls hard. He's very protective of his heroine.
Yes, very much. Because sometimes they make them like a little bit, jerks or a little arrogant and stuff. But whatever, bad things that I might give them, it's all made up because they're going to fall for the heroine and just be completely noble with her. So I can make them do some idiotic things, and it's okay.
Awesome. Mary, I waited as long as I could, but you got to do it now.
Fair enough. Well, like it does go back to character, I think, especially with things like Silver and Grey, where I have the same characters are coming up over and over again, and how do I keep it fresh? And I'm not quite sure, but I found I just sit there and I think about them and I think, well, what would they do now? They're at this stage, so what could they do now? What is the next stage that they're going to be? And the story sort of somehow concocts itself from that, from them having to deal with something else in their life or with each other or with what's going on around them. They need something else to happen, and from that it's flowed from that. I think be interesting to see if it still does that by the time I get to book 9. But
well, and that's an interesting point, because in a straightforward linear romance where we're meeting the characters, we're watching them fall in love, we're seeing their wounds, we're seeing how they fit together, and that kind of thing. The arc of the romance is the story, but when you have the same characters over and over again, it's not just the arc of the romance that's driving it anymore. You know them because you've written them long enough that now you can see how are they going to react when external challenges come in, when external forces come in, when things push them.
Yeah, exactly.
That way, it's a different kind of depth of character. So I can see how that would be really interesting to write.
I hope so.
And to read, definitely. So. Well, ladies, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today. It was great to have the time to do this. I'm going to pop the links to all the books in the comment section. Make sure you show up on join the readers group now, because the authors are in the readers group every time they have a release, and they're in there and they're chatting away. And you want to make sure you're in the readers group. But join the readers group, and then you can also do the Duke's All Summer Long party on Sunday. So I'll make sure to put the links in the comments so you can grab them if you haven't got them already. Dragonblade books are the best deal on pre-order and release. And if you don't get them then, you can read them in Kindle Unlimited. So thanks again, ladies, for taking the time.
Thank you.